very fine morning to you today. Welcome to Signature Morning on Signature TV. Today is Wednesday, the 23rd day of July 2025. I hope you had a good night rest and you are ready to go about your activities of the day. Well, we know that Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan is, currently making the headlines on the papers once again, with still the Nigerian Senate, and it seems that the Nigerian Senate has found a new pastime. Instead of doing what they should do, they are disciplining members, the wrong members actually, and we're seeing that there has been a lot of issues concerning the Senate and Natasha, and even her suspension. And it's also very, very sad to note that since her suspension, her constituency, which is Kogi Central, has been unrepresented, and it seems as if it's not a concern for the Senate, and it just goes to show where our priorities lie in the country when it comes to our lawmakers and decision makers. Anyway, I am Uchenna Chimdi Oluoha. Thank you for joining us, and coming up next is our newspaper headlines and review. Welcome back. Now it's time for our newspaper headlines. We are starting with the Punch newspaper. Now, on the Punch newspaper, we have Senate okays Tinubu's $21 billion foreign loans. Dangote exports 1.3 billion liters petrol as marketers buy foreign fuel. Alright, we have Attorney General Fabemi's office denies government stake in First Holdco PLC, calls this day and Arise reports malicious. APC may pick Ganduje's successor at make or break neck meeting. Almakura, Yilwata, Dalori top race, lobbying thickens. North Central demands slots, constitution review on neck agenda. That is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Alright, Israeli protest in Tel Aviv over Gaza food shortages. Atiku warns Okpebholo, Wike insists on Obi's visit clearance. Natasha heads to court after Senate blockade. And finally, ADC boils over Tinubu's endorsement by Adeleke Oyinlola on page 7 of the Punch newspaper. Now to the Guardian newspaper, we have AGF's office denies government stake in First Holdco PLC. Nigeria loses $18 billion to multinationals tax evasion yearly. 210 trillion naira scandal. Senate accuses NNPCL GCEO of defiance, gives 24-hour ultimatum. Benue killings. 3,160 displaced, 48 homes destroyed, says FG on news page 30. Suspense as Tinubu, APC, NEC meet over zoning, new chairman. Senate approves Tinubu's $21.8 billion loan plan, 758 billion naira pension bond amid soaring debt concerns. Alright, we have that ICC renovation and renaming of public assets. Reps consider restricting politicians, families to public hospitals, schools. Stakeholders warn of setback for Nigeria, Africa as US exits UNESCO. And finally, on The Guardian, tension and security operatives deny Natasha access to National Assembly. Now to the Nigerian Tribune. Confusion persists over APC NEC meeting with rider governors, the NWC in dark over caucus. Osun PDP leaders endorse Tinubu Adeleke for second term. Alright, on health, we have owning a smartphone before age 13 linked to poor mental health. Africa losing $90 billion annually to imported substandard fuel, Dangote laments. Still on the Nigerian Tribune, external reserves hit $40.1 billion in July. This is from CBN Governor. With riders, the Apex Bank maintains lending rate at 27.5%, says 8 banks have met recapitalization requirements. You can find that on page 6. FG issues fresh flood alerts for 28 states. And finally, Okpebolo insists Obi must inform him before visiting Edo. Now to the Blueprint newspaper. On the Blueprint we have Natasha, supporters in face-off with NAS security personnel. CBN retains interest rates at 27.5% to sustain disinflation. In sports, we have WAFCON, Super Falcons edge out South Africa, qualify for final. Alright, we have Nigeria needs 250% increase in poultry meat, 577% milk to meet projected 400 million population 2050. With riders explains how sector can boost nation's exports, ranching the way to go for Nigeria's economy from federal government. Alright, Tinubu, an ardent supporter of media, this is from Idris. Africa losing $90 billion annually to imported substandard fuel from Dangote, and we are working on pricing benchmark reflecting continent reality from NMDPRA. Now to the Daily Trust newspaper. On the Daily Trust we have National Assembly bars Natasha from resuming plenary. Flood, act now, Northern elders tell FG. Reps ask US to restore 5-year visa policy for Nigerians. Still on the Daily Trust newspaper, how Ajibade Alozie fired Nigeria into WAFCON finals. Our businesses cannot survive on double-digit interest rates, says entrepreneurs. 8 months after, missing child reunites with mother. Lawmakers indict 31 MDAs, ask EFCC to recover 103 billion naira, $950,000. And finally, on the Daily Trust newspaper, why Tinubu is yet to appoint ambassadors. Now over to the Matrix newspaper. On the Matrix we have Africa losing $90 billion annually to imported substandard fuel, Dangote laments. Why we retained interest rates at 27.5% by Cardoso, it's to sustain momentum of disinflation, sufficiently contain price pressure, says gross external reserves rose to $40.1 billion. Tinubu sets Q1 26 target for takeoff of national single window. You remain suspended, Senate tells Natasha. With riders, this is another skit making, content creation by our colleague from the Senate. Akpabio cannot be greater than Nigerian constitution. This is from Apoti Udwaran. And Senate approves Tinubu's $21 billion loan for 2025 budget. You can find that on page 2 of the Matrix newspaper. Amid outrage, Okpebolo insists Obi should notify him before visiting Edo. Adeleke shuns APC, declares 2026 re-election bid on PDP platform. Alright, we have Whiskey helped me open Instagram account, Daddy Shoki. Psycho fans milling around Tinubu not telling him the truth, APC chieftain. Finally, on the Matrix, WAFCON, Nigeria beats holders South Africa to meet Morocco in final. Now to the Daily Times newspaper. On the Daily Times we have rebasing GDP is mere economic cosmetics. ADC slams FG on page 12. Tinubu, Ojulari not bigger than NAS, says Senate. Apoti Uduan denied entrance to NAS. NIMET seeks amendments to Establishment Act. Southeast ripe for 2 additional states, says Oga. Now to the Daily Independent newspaper, we are working on full implementation of Supreme Court's ruling on LG, says FG. 2027 election, PDP finally zones presidency to the south, with riders holds neck to address issues bedeviling party. Founding fathers move to reclaim party legacy. Southeast PDP disowns Odefa as national vice chair ahead of NEC. Governor Adeleke Osun PDP endorsed Tinubu for second term. You can't celebrate rebased GDP while hunger is killing Nigerians. ADC blasts Tinubu. Alright, and finally on Business Day, we have Attorney General's Office denies government stake in First Holdco PLC. Disco's high electricity bills under scrutiny as after Enugu's tariff cut. Nigeria scraps XX dividend tax as overhaul ends loopholes era. And Africa loses $90 billion annually to imported substandard fuel by Dangote. And that is it on the newspaper headlines for today. And over to our review this morning, Chris Maduka. Good morning.
Good morning, Uche. Good morning, dear viewer and listener anywhere across the globe.
Yeah, now it's time for our review.
Yes.
One very interesting headline. You remain suspended on the Matrix newspaper. You remain suspended. This is the Senate telling Natasha, and even going further to say that this is skit making and content creation, by Natasha and her efforts to get back into the plenary meeting of the Senate.
It's wonderful. I don't know who is making the skits and who is, but the distinguished Senate of Federal Republic of Nigeria has turned every activity in their hollow chamber to skit making. It takes two to make a skit. If you are not the proponent, you are the opponent. This skit making arrangement started, and we have a management of the National Assembly, the distinguished Senate, that could have stopped the skit making. Because if you want to stop a fight, you first separate pushing. You don't allow anybody to push anybody. It got to the point, you suspended somebody who is representing a senatorial district from a state that is part of the national Nigeria constitutionally. And still people sat down somewhere and suspended the person. They didn't care about the people that the person represents. Their interest wasn't there. They're just looking at Natasha Apoti as an individual, which is one of the wrongest things. Nobody will go on to talk about it. But then the Senate has their procedure. Fine. They are law and lawmakers. The woman went to court. The court said, restrict her. It's the same thing that's happened. Lawlessness in a lawless community cannot make any law to code, no matter how you want to justify it. And the woman want to reclaim her right, what the court have given her. You describe it as skit making. Well, the man who faced ant-infested firewood invited ants and a lizard for a visit. If they have sorted this thing out before now, the Federal Republic of Nigeria Senate cannot be turned to areas of skit making. It will not be linked. So, all of them have become skit makers. Both the producer, the actors, the camera people that are shooting the skits. We don't know where they will sell it. Whether it will be Nollywood or they will take it to Netflix. But they are making skits, all of them. It's appalling that in Nigeria of 2025, with all the big problems we have, Natasha is the only problem our Senate have. Well, God bless them. let's know how it. Once you begin to play with chicken, the chicken drop will rub all your body. And that is what our senator does. Otherwise, why should everybody wake up in the morning and talk about Senate of Federal Republic of Nigeria and Natasha? It's an insult, and they invited it to themselves. And they'll come out and say they are distinguished. How many of them? Well, it takes a lot of things to be distinguished. It takes also restraint, because there is strength in restraint. Who among them, even the leadership of the Senate, do they have that restraint to calm this thing down and let this thing settle? Because some millions of people in the senatorial district that this woman represents, their welfare is involved, and they need to. That means they have automatically suspended that Senate district from the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And things will happen in that Senate Republic, and the police will go there to start arresting people. Let them know that whichever senatorial district that the Session represents is also suspended from Federal Republic of Nigeria. That
they
is
are not represented.
Exactly. Of course they are suspended, and we are dancing around it, creating illegality by the highest law-making body of Nigeria, and we are playing with it, dancing around it. They are building it tomorrow. Somebody tomorrow will come and quote Akpoti versus. He will also quote who is the current incumbent president of Senate, which is what is his name?
Ababio, God's will Ababio.
Oh, that will tell you how popular is it. So they will also quote him as the president at the time, wherever this court issue comes, because the laws have their records. People will quote. In the future, our children will quote how the Senate of Federal Republic of Nigeria handled that court issue, and they went to court against one young woman who is just simply coming out. Whatever you did and it came out of, you would try to use your whole force. Why is the Senate allowing their whole chamber to use to suppress one person?
All right, let's look at this APC. On the Punch, it says APC may pick Ganduje's successor at make or break neck meeting. It's also, appearing on the Guardian, Nigerian Tribune. Confusion persists over APC neck meeting. Governors NWC in dark over caucus.
Confusion galore all over. The whole Nigerian political system and political parties are filled with enter political squabbles and crises. So even the rich also cried. And even the Central Party that have been making hollings and making booga is also having some confusion that some people are in the dark about the caucus meeting. Do they now meet on the ground? Do they have bunkers where they meet? That they will go and settle themselves because they are the party, they are the center. So whatever they sow, they reap. Because it's the measure through we give people that, nature and God has a way. They cannot, APC, as far as we are concerned in Nigeria, can never escape whatever they have sown in Nigeria. They will repeat full length. They have destroyed some political parties that were giving us semblance of democratic structure. And they will think, after doing that, they will go home and rest. No. No, because whatever you sow, you reap, and that's where I see it. There are this confusion all over. I call it gaffing gadoki. That's what they call it. You cut the head of a horse, put it on the head of a cow, and that's what the Nigerian political. There's total confusion. You go to Osun State, the governor said, I am still PDP, I'm declaring for 2026, and then I have to adopt APC president, and that is comfortable for everybody. All of them have to. Now, it doesn't seem anything wrong, but the APC will see it, and they think they go on to rest. That's why they're having confusion. You cause confusion in your neighbor's house, you go, it will harm to you. Why is it that? Where has it happened? Since the political structure of Nigeria started, every party in Nigeria now, even a state governor, if you don't adopt a sitting president that is another party, you won't feel comfortable. Otherwise, everybody has said it before, whether by joke or not, the threat of emergency rule in Nigeria, they experimented it to work. So he sent the coach shivers down the spines of all the governors. And all of them are now talking, they can't come out openly to say anything. And that's why Anambra has adopted President Bola Tinubu under APGA. And Osun State has adopted under another PDP. Who knows what next? The counting goes on. So for you to remain and the one that intention of second term.
All right, now we are seeing also on the Matrix and on other newspapers, Africa is losing $90 billion annually to imported substandard fuel. This is from Dangote.
Which I don't know where you were those days with the sometime the one they imported, the whole Nigeria almost caught fire. It was smelling like shit. Every area, because that will tell you how the fumes of this thing take over the environment. Those days they were, this is imported fuel that was smelling like everywhere. People could not sleep in their home. Everywhere was smelling all over Nigeria. And they said 90 billion on fake. That is it. Who is in charge? These figures are imagined. And some of them will, because some of them at National Assembly receive newspaper allowance. Some of them that stay in 5-star hotels, they drop newspapers every morning in their rooms. So they will fold their legs, wake up in the morning and flip through figures of what they are supposed to be in charge. They will read it. So after reading these newspaper headlines, what do our National Assembly discuss? They discuss Natasha suspension. They will tell you that as a Senate, somebody is in charge of the chairman committee on oil and gas. You will fold the newspaper that the Nigerian government people paid your allowance to read, and you see facts on our headlines. You will not reflect it in the assembly when you go to session. You see answer distinguished. I'm sorry.
All right, now we are seeing Disco's high electricity bills under scrutiny after Enugu tariff cut on business day.
Enugu has broken the jinx, yes. And people are now beginning to say, somebody is dealing with us all this while. And we have over the time said, kudos to Enugu EERC, they call them Enugu Electric Regulatory Commission. And that's since the federal government customized, started allowing them to customize to states, and then we now started seeing the difference. If this is the only thing that we achieve, beautiful. Kudos to EERC. And other states, like yesterday review, we find out that many states have taken, even I think Plateau, Osun and all, has borrowed the leaf of Enugu EERC. Beautiful. It shows the whole country will now look. Probably they will find some people that will go to court and ask the Discos and Gencos to pay refund Nigerians all that they've taken away from us. And if they don't do it, Nigerians have a way of praying. We go for night vigil and pray God to replenish all that Genco and the Discos has stolen from us. Because that's what it means. And you don't ask me how to pray. If the ERC reveal that these people have been dealing with us, and imagine the difference. Imagine the gap. Put it together across the number of households that have been recharging electricity under that exorbitant, and now Enugu Electricity Regulatory Commission came and said, sorry, Enugu people, you entered one chance vehicle over time. Now it's time for us to know that Gencos and Discos were not all that they came to tell us they were. Probably they were trying to recoup all the money they used to when the Bureau of Public Enterprise sold Nigerian electricity structure to them. But something has been exposed, and it's a good one. Yes. Before we go, I don't know how much time. The flooding alert in 28 states.
Yes.
I won't stop without saying it again. NIMET are saying they're giving it flooding alert. They're also calling that the federal government should review the act establishing NIMET.
Yes.
They remember they went on strike.
Yes.
They went on strike once. And because Nigerian National Assembly, they need to fly. They don't use roads again. And they know that if Nimen did not clear the air travels and they tell the pilots to go or do, so they quickly pay them their salary they are owing them. I wish most of the government organizations in Nigeria hold such power like Nimen. Because when they kept mute, they kept what they called you know, they kept the whole airports under dark, no information. So no pilot will want to take any risk until they came back to work and said you can fly now. So they paid them, and now they are calling for review. I'm sure they will quickly review them. Yeah. But the flooding alert in 28 states, 36 plus 1 minus 28, which are how many left? Meaning the whole Nigeria is under flood alert. That's the summary.
Yes, the summary.
And this alert has been coming still. They say it's only a madman that will wish to solve a problem under the same consciousness that caused that problem, and they expect a change. I don't know, I'm not saying anything. But if after warning Nigeria, flood came and killed people in the Niger State, Mokwa, flood came in Aniwi, in Enugu and killed people. Flood came in Obaru and Asaba and all those riverine and killed people. Flood came in so many cities and killed people. After these warnings, it means if I am not the mad person, then the people who are supposed to take this order and change it are the mad people. So somebody is mad somewhere, but we cannot continue under this madness and expect change. So God help Nigerian madness to come to a halt. Well, I don't know when God become a walking psychiatrist. What can we tell God?
He does all.
Thank you, and God bless Nigeria for those who desire.
I was waiting for you to say that. Thank you, Chris, for this review. And you can get all of the information from the headlines by picking a copy of these newspapers wherever you get them. Now, we'll be back in a moment. Stay with us.